Hi everyone, welcome back to our another JavaScript project tutorial. And as you guys know, I'm creating some JavaScript projects for beginner. And if you are a beginner also, then I hope you will learn something new from this project tutorial. And in this JavaScript project, we will be creating a simple JavaScript counter. And here you can see that I have a heading and then we have a number here which is 0, and then we have two buttons here, one is lower and one is add. So if I now click on this add button, here you can see that this number is increasing, and if I continue to clicking on this button, here you can see that this button is continuously increasing. And if I now click on this lower button, here you can see that this number is now continuously decreasing. And now if I keep pressing the button, this lower button, this number will be negative values like -1, -2, -3. And the second functionality I will be adding, here you can see that in our 0 position, our font color is black. If I go to our lower position, here you can see that it is now red. And if we now increase the value greater than 0, it will change the color and it will turn the color into green color. So that's it guys. In a few minutes we will be creating this simple JavaScript project. And if you are a beginner, then I hope this tutorial will help you in your future projects. And please guys, I request you don't skip any part of this video because it will be a short tutorial. And if you skip any part of this video, the things will be difficult for you later to understand. And guys, I will recommend you to stay connected with me with this channel, because I will be uploading more JavaScript projects and JavaScript tutorials in this channel. And I don't want you guys to miss any of this tutorial and projects. So I will request you to subscribe this channel, like this video and press the bell icon for the future videos. Also, if you have any question about this tutorial, about this project, then you can comment below. And also let me know what kinds of JavaScript project you want to see in future in my channel. And guys, I have a question for you. Comment below from which country you are watching this tutorial now, so that I can show you a magic in my next video. So that's it guys, let's get started. So here you can see that I am now in my project directory, and here you can see that we have three files. One is add.js file, second one is index.html file, and third one is main.css. So first we have to open our index.html file. So guys, here you can see that this is my index.html file, and here in my index.html file, here you can see that we have a simple HTML boilerplate, and then I have added a title here for my project, for my file, and then we have added our main.css file also, and then in the bottom we have added our JavaScript file also. So now first we have to do one thing. I will create our this box first. Here you can see that we have a box, and inside this box I will put everything. I will put our heading, our this function, and our this two button also. So for creating this card, for creating this box, let's take a div here, and the class name of this div will be, let's say, card. That's it. And inside this card I will wrap everything. So first I will create a h2 for our heading. So let's create a h2, and the class name of this h2 will be, let's say, name, because it is a name for our project actually. So class name will be name, and here it will be JavaScript project. So I will just simply copy this name from here and then paste it here. That's it. So after this project, after this h2, we have to create a h4 also for this counter, for this number. So let's take a h4 here. And for our this h4, I will take a id, because this id we will need in our JavaScript code. So for our id, the name of this id will be, let's say, counter. That's it. And the initial value will be 0. So after our h2 and h4, now we have to create our this two button. So now I will put this button into a container. So that's why let's take a div, and the class name of this div will be container. That's it. And inside this container I will create two buttons. So let's take a button tag, and here I will create some classes for this button. So first button is for actually for our lower button. So let's type this name for here. It will be lower. And here I will take some classes, and the class name will be, let's say, counter button. And then I will take another class. So the class name will be previous button. That's it. So now here you can see that we have created our first button. Now I will copy this one from here and then paste it here, and this one will be for our second button, which is add. So the name will be also add. And now I want this class to be unchanged, and the class name for this one, I will change this class name and it will be next button. So this will be next. That's it. So now here you can see that we have created our HTML template, and we have done with our HTML. Now we have to save this And then if you go to our website and if we now refresh, here you can see that I have our heading, I have our initial counter, and then we have two buttons also. Now we have to style these things. We have to bring everything in the center. So that's why we have to style this page. So now we have to go to our main.css file. So here in our main.css file, we have import font family for this project. So that's why we have to add this link. We have to add this URL. And then we have our star, and inside this star we have our margin, padding, box sizing, and the font family which I have imported from Google. Now we have to bring everything to center. So that's why first we will take our body, and then I will do a magic because I want to bring everything to in center. So for writing fewer lines of code, I will wrap our HTML also. It will be display, and I am taking grid, and here I will give a min height, and it will be 100%. That's it. And then I will take a line here, and the line will be place items, and it will be center. That's it. If we now save and if we go to our website, so guys, here we can see that with just 3 lines of code, I have placed everything to the center. So guys, here you can see that this is so cool, so amazing. So after this one, now I will add a background color also. So for background color, EFF and 4F5. That's it. Now save and now refresh. Here you can see that we have changed our background color also. So now we have to create our this box here, this little box. We have to create this box in our this project here. So for creating this box, we have to go to our index.html file, and here you can see that we have a card. So I will simply copy this card class from here and then go to our main.css and then paste it here. That's it. So first I will give a width here, and the card width will be 600 pixel. And then I will take a height, and our height will be, let's say, 350 pixel. If I now save and if you go to our website and now refresh, here actually you won't see anything yet. So now I will do one thing. I will create a box shadow. So let's take a box shadow, and from our X value it will be 10 pixel. From our Y value it will be also 10 pixel, and for the blur we will take 50 pixel. And then I will take a RGB color, and the RGB color will be 192 and 183, then 183 also. That's it. Now I will simply copy this one from here and then paste it here. Now it will be -10, and it will be -10, it will be 15, and the color will be white. That's it. Now save and go to our website, and if I refresh, here you can see that we have created our simple border here, and this box and this box shadow is looking so beautiful. So after this one, now here you can see that actually this particles is actually on the top left here, but I want everything to center. So that's why I will take our display here, and it will be flex, then flex direction will be column, justify contour will be center, and then align items will be also center. Now save and go to our website and now refresh. Here you can see that we have brought everything to the center here. Now I will do another thing. I will add some border radius here in this corner. So let's add a border radius, and the border radius will be 20 pixel. Now save and go to our website and now refresh. So guys, here you can see that we have now 20 pixel border radius. So after this one, now we have to increase the font size and the font width of this text here. First I will style our heading. So for doing this, here you can see that we have a class for our heading. So I will copy this name class from here and then paste it here. That's it. And I will give a font size, and it will be 3 rem. Save and go to our website and now refresh. Here you can see that we have increased our font size of the heading. So after this heading, now we have to increase the font size of our this counter also. So go to our index.html file and copy this ID from here, paste it here. That's it. And here I will give a font size, and it will be 5 rem. And then I will add a margin bottom here, and then margin bottom will be 1 rem. That's it. Now save, go to our website and now refresh. Here you can see that we have increased our font size, and we have added some margin bottom underneath this section here. So after this one, now we have to style our these 2 button. So for these 2 button, I will simply copy this previous button class from here and then paste it here. And then I will take our second class name also, which is next button, and I will also paste it here. That's it. So that I don't have to write the same code for these 2 buttons second time. So that's why I am wrapping the 2 buttons with each other. Now I will give a font size, and the font size will be 1.3 rem. That's it. And then I will give our outline. Here you can see that we have some outline, and I don't want this, and the outline will be none. and then I will take some padding here inside our padding, because here you can see that we don't have any space inside this button, inside this box. So that's why I will take a padding from top and bottom, and it will be 0.7 rem, and then from left and right it will be 1.5 rem. And then let's take a cursor, and it will be pointer, so that I can click on this button. Now save and go to our website, and now refresh. Here you can see that we have our button. Now I want some space between these two buttons, so for adding this space I will add our margin, and margin from top and bottom will be 0, because I don't want any space from top and bottom, but from left and right it will be 2 rem. That's it. Now save, go to our website, and now refresh. Here you can see that now we have a space between these two buttons. And guys, after this line we have done with our CSS also. We have styled our web page with our CSS. Now let's jump into our JavaScript. And here in our JavaScript, I will create a function, and inside this function I will put every functionalities and every works. And I want this function to work continuously, because we don't have any other works with JavaScript. We have to just focus on 3 sections. One is our this counter, second one is our lower button, and our third one is our add button. So now let's create a function here. And here first we have to initialize these two buttons, because we have initialized these two buttons in our HTML using our same class name. Here you can see that we have our same class name, counter button. And now we have to initialize this button in our add.js file also. So I will take a variable, so that's why it will be const, and the variable name will be buttons. And then we have to add document.querySelector, and now we have to target the class name which we have given into our HTML. So I will just copy this counter button class from here and then paste it here. That's it. So after these buttons, now I will do another thing. Here you can see that this value should be always 0 in the starting point. So that's why I will give let. Now let's take a variable for this one, and it will be count, and the value will be always 0 and at the starting point. So after this one, now we have to define the works. We have to define the functionalities of these two buttons. So for targeting these two buttons, we have to give this button name. We have to give this button variable, so it will be buttons, and then we have to target each one of them. So that's why it will be for each. And here inside this function we have to pass a parameter, and the name of this parameter will be button also. That's it. And I want this button to work whenever I will click on this button. So we have to add an event listener also. So that's why we have to first take our button, and then we have to add event listener. And here it will be, let's say, click, because whenever I will click on this button, then this button will work. So that's why it will be click. And whenever I will click on this button, I want to add a function, I want to run a function. So that's why it will be function. And here in this function we have to add some conditions, because here you can see that we have two buttons and each one can be pressed. Okay, so now we have to first find out which button is actually user pressing, so that we can change the values here. So if user pressing the lower button, the values will be decreasing, and if user pressing this add button, this value will be increased. So now we have to create a condition so that this program can find out which button is actually pressed. So here our first condition will be if, and it will be if our button dot class list. We have to define the class list, and it will be contains. That's it. And here we have to pass the class name. So for our this lower button, we have a class name in our HTML which is previous button. So copy this previous button and then go to our app.js and then paste it here. That's it. So if our previous button is actually pressed, now we have to decrease the values of this count. Here you can see that we have our count 0, and now we have to decrease the value which is our negative values. So that's why I will add count minus minus, because I want to decrease the values each time I click on this lower button. So if our lower button is not pressed, it means we have pressed our add button, and if I pressed on this add button, I want to increase the value. So that's why I will just copy this one from here, and then here we will add else if value and then paste it here. That's it. else if our this button, which means our another button which is add, and we have a class name for this add button which is actually next button. So copy this next button from here and then paste it here. That's it. So if our next button is pressed, now I want to increase the value, so that's why it will be plus plus. That's it. So guys, here you can see that we have actually defined our work for these buttons. So now we have to target our this section. So for targeting this section, we have to import this section ID or class in our JS. So that's why first we have to take a variable and it will be const and the variable name will be counter. That's it. And the ID or the classes is actually in our index.html file. So that's why we have to add document.querySelector. And this query selector will be actually a ID because we have an ID for our counter. Here you can see that we have an ID for our counter. So I'll copy this ID from here and then paste it here. That's it. So after this one, and now I will take our counter again, and then we have to add text content, and our this variable will actually check the values from our this lower button and from our this add button. And these two values is actually stored in our count, so that's why it will be count here, because we have to check this count. We have to check this count for our lower button and our add button also, because this count value represents our lower button and our add button. So that's why we have to compare these count values. So if our count value is negative, we have to change these values to the negative also, and if our count value is positive, we have to change this value into the positives. So for doing this, we have to also compare the values which will get the count. And here our first condition will be if our count is actually less than 0, then it means our this section will be negative, and I have to change the color of this font and it will be red. So that's why here we have to change the color of this font. So we have to take the counter and then we have to style these things. So that's why we have to initialize a style property, and which property I want to style. I want to change the color here. So that's why color, and this value will be red. So our if count is less than 0, it will be red. If our count is greater than 0, we have to change the color into a green color. So that's why I'll copy this one from here, and here I will type else and paste it here. That's it. If our count is actually greater than 0, then we have to change the color and it will be green. That's it. And if our count is not less than 0 and if our count is not greater than 0, then it means our count is 0, and I want to keep this color when our count is 0. So that's why we have to add else value. I don't want to change the color, so that's why I will just give the initial color and it will be 333. That's it. Now save, and if we go to our website and now refresh, and let's see this JavaScript is working or not. And now if we click on this button, here you can see that this section is not working, and this counter section is not also working. So let me see in the code what is actually wrong. Okay, here you can see that counter btn, it means counter button, and we have actually two counter button here, not one. So that's why it will be actually query selector all, because we have two property with the same name. So that's why it will be query selector all. That's it. And then let me see any other error here. Okay, here we have another error. We have to remember that whenever we will declare a class name into this contains, we don't have to define this dot before the class name. So I will simply remove the dot from the class names. That's it. And after this function, here you can see that we have ending point of our function. So after running this function one time, I want this function to run continuously. So that's why we have to pass this parameter, empty parameter. Now save, and if we go to our website and if we now refresh, and now let's click on this add button. Here you can see that our number is now changing. And now let's click on this lower button. So guys, here you can see that our lower button is also working. So here is our project. Here you can see that in our initial position, it means when our count is 0, we don't have to change the color. We are giving the initial color. If I click on this add button, our number is now increasing, and we have also changed the font color. If I click on this lower button, here you can see that if our count is actually less than 0, it means -1, -2, -3, infinity, minus infinity. So we have to change the color of this font also. So that's it guys for this project, and I hope you guys enjoyed this project. And if you are a beginner, then I hope you guys actually learned something new from this project. And if you do more JavaScript projects, you will learn new things in every project. So that's why guys, I will request you, please connect with me, connect with this channel, because I will be uploading more JavaScript projects, more projects about JavaScript in future, and I don't want you guys to miss the projects. So that's why please subscribe this channel, like this video, and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, any problem, any error about this video, you guys can comment below. So that's it guys, let's see you in our next tutorial.